What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams with The Distance, another fantasy matchup, 71. Roberto Duran versus Shane Mosley at lightweight. Overall, you can put this at 2 weights, or 3 weights really, because both fighters have won championships at welterweight, lightweight, and junior middleweight. But overall, really good fight, Mosley versus Duran. Because what you have here is you have what some consider the most athletically gifted lightweight champion of all time, Shane Mosley. A lot of people found him to be perhaps the most athletically gifted or most athletically talented out of all of them. I guess because of maybe the weight training and other. I guess he did other sports and stuff, but I think he was a weightlifter in high school. And other than that, he was he had really good hand speed, he had really good power, and he had a good chin. And at the same time, Roberto Duran is perhaps what many consider the greatest lightweight champion of all time. He's up there with even Benny Leonard, another great lightweight champion from the past. I do want to do a top 5 lightweights coming up before possible hiatus, but overall, this is an excellent fight to analyze and think about. Now, Shane Mosley, if you see him at lightweight, Shane Mosley at lightweight was much faster than he is at welterweight. I thought he was much faster at lightweight than he was in the first De La Hoya fight back in 2000 when he was about 29 years old. And his reflexes were a lot different, and his punches were a bit sharper. And he threw. And it seemed to me he threw more combinations. He tended to throw more combinations, and he didn't throw the combinations when fighters got hurt. Because similar to what he does now, he throws combinations when the fighter is stunned or whatever. That's when he throws combinations. And I'm not analyzing Mosley that fought last Saturday when he was looking for one big shot, with the right hand. When he was looking for one big right hand, this is a different Mosley. This Mosley, he didn't necessarily jab that much, but he was so fast that he led in with hooks and combinations, and he got away with it because of his speed, the hand speed and the power, and not to mention he had a really good chin as well. And and really that's really what Shane Mosley did at lightweight. He won the championship in '97. I think he beat Philip Holliday and vacated it. Left the lightweight division for bigger and better things at welterweight. Big money fight against De La Hoya, the fight to get his name out there. But Mosley at lightweight was extremely fast. Good hand speed, good power. And I do believe that he's more. I think he was more powerful at lightweight than he was at welterweight. At lightweight, he had, I think, a majority of his fights, more than 30 fights, he ended in a knockout. Out of like the 30, I think he had like 32 or 33 at lightweight, and majority of those fights were knockouts. I think he had a couple decision victories, but he was undefeated at lightweight. And Roberto Duran, perhaps one of the greatest, perhaps, as I mentioned, the greatest lightweight champion of all time, up there with Benny Leonard. Roberto Duran did a really good job of cutting off the ring towards the later stages of the fight. He didn't chase fighters. The only fight I really seen him, the fight I saw him chase somebody, was the second fight against Sugar Ray Leonard. That's when that's the No Mas fight, as it's mentioned. That's the fight when he actually chased Sugar Ray Leonard. That's the fight he chased him around the ring. But in the first fight, Sugar Ray Leonard stood in front of him. This is a welterweight fight, but Sugar Ray Leonard stood right in front of him, and he was able to get his shots off because he stood in front of him. And that's how he fought at lightweight. Fighters would stand in front of him, they would move around, but he used the shoulders. He cut off the angles. He'd go to the body, and then he'd go to the body, go to both sides, and then the fighter would move. He'd cut off the ring again, go to the body again to both sides, and really that's primarily what he did. But what he would do was he would start to pour it on when he cut off the ring, and he let in. He led himself to the inside. He used his left jab, got on the inside, stepped in, right to the body, left to the body, and sometimes he'd get the right up top and left up top, and he'd kind of come back, and then he'd come forward, he'd do it again. He would do it the whole entire fight, and he was relentless. This is my opinion, he was relentless, and he always came forward. He was always there to fight, and that best describes the style of Roberto Duran. A fighter that's always going to be in front of you and finds a way for you to stand there and trade with him. Now, in this fight, as I mentioned, Sugar Shane Mosley, has hand speed and he has power. Roberto Duran didn't necessarily have the hand speed, but he had the power, and I do believe he had pretty good I think he had the better boxing IQ, because he worked with what was best for him. Though he didn't have the fancy footwork, and I'm not saying Mosley has fancy footwork because he kind of trots around, but he was much faster on the feet at lightweight than he is now. I think that Roberto Duran will find a way to cut off the ring, because I think he can get Mosley trapped on the ropes, and more than likely get his shots off and start to pour it on and continue coming forward and pressuring, and kind of staying in Mosley's face and not giving Mosley any range. So he would make Mosley have to fire off short shots, and he would make Mosley stand right in front of him. And that's the fight that Duran wants. And I know that Duran is the type of fighter who knows how to make you fight his fight. And I know that he'll make Shane Mosley fight his fight. Me, I'm going to go with Roberto Duran by a unanimous decision. 12-round unanimous decision. Though Duran fought every fight at lightweight, practically 15 rounds. This overall, I think he just win this fight by unanimous decision, because I think he'll make Mosley fight with him. And I think Mosley will probably get the better of the combinations. I think he'll get more shots off. Not the better of the combination. I think that Duran will get the better of him, but I think Mosley will fire off more combinations. But at the same time, I'm going to say Duran should win it on ring generalship. I think he'll be the ring general in this fight. He'll continue coming forward, pressuring, and using his jab to box his way into the inside and control the tempo with that. So I'm going with Duran, unanimous decision. But anyway, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.